Okay, so let's get started. This evening, we're going to talk about interviews. Interviews, English interviews. Now, has anyone here had already in one of their past previous experiences an interview in English? Federico, yeah?
Yeah, I did. I did have several interviews in English.
Was that here or was that in overseas in Canada,
No, most of those were in the US.
in the US?
Yeah, but I had two interviews here.
Okay, very good. And what about you, Giuliani? Giuliano.
I had one interview, I think, more or less 3 months ago.
3 months ago. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And when we have to do an interview, even if it is in our mother language, it can be nerve-wracking. Nerve-wracking. I'm going to put it in the chat for everyone. Nerve-wracking means it creates a lot of stress, right? We feel it in our nerves, right? We feel worried. So we're going to talk about techniques that you can do to feel more confident and questions that you can ask your interviewer. So that's what we will start with. Most of the time, when people think of interviews, they think of the questions that you will answer. And it is true, we do have to answer questions, but we're going to start with questions that we can ask. So I'm going to share my screen and let's get started. So here, we're going to look at questions to ask your interviewer. Now, why do you think it is important that we ask the interviewer questions? What do you think? How does this help?
I
Federico?
think maybe uh, what is his experience with other jobs or uh, what is your either major? Yeah.
Okay, your experience from previous jobs. Yeah, this is important. And Federico, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's very important to ask interviews to the interviewer in this case to show that you are curious about the company and that you want to also to evaluate if the company of the job is a good fit for you. For
Yeah,
instance, like it's not well seen most of the time if you seem disinterested or if you only want the job for the money and you don't care if it's a job you like, if it's a job you want to do, if it's a job you feel prepared to do. So
mhm,
when you ask questions, you show this kind of interest and thoughtfulness.
exactly. Yeah. So imagine if the interviewer has 20 candidates and now he speaks to you and you ask some interesting questions. Now he has to think to answer your question. Now he's being interviewed, right? So the interview is almost like a dance. So now he has to think to answer your question. And from the 20 candidates, he goes, "Oh, this guy is interesting, or this girl is interesting. I can see that she thinks differently, or he thinks differently, right?" So now from the 20, maybe he remembers you first, right? So it's good to think about what questions can we ask. So let's take a look at some questions. Um, Giuliano, can you read for us questions one, two, and three?
One and
One, two, and three.
okay. What does a typical day look like? How would you describe the work environment here? Is it typically collaborative or more independent? What are the current goals that the company is focusing on? How does uh, how does how does this team role work in hitting those goals?
Yeah. So how does that role that you are interviewing for, what connection is there with the company's goals, right? Very
Mhm.
good. And let me see if Taiwani, can you read for us 4 through 6?
Yeah, for sure. Number 4, looking at the job description, which responsibility is your immediate priority? What are the key I don't know
Character.
characteristics you think a person needs to be a great cultural fit at your company? What career development opportunities do you offer your employees?
Yeah, this one,
Employees.
good. Good. And Anna, can you read for us number 7, 8, and 9?
Okay. Number 7. What do you like most about working for this company? What does success look like in this position, and how you measure it?
Mhm.
How do you see my skills and experiences fitting with the needs of the company?
Good. And Vinicius, can you read for us number 10?
Yeah. Do you have any reservation about considering for this move?
Okay, good. So, does anyone have any questions about the meaning of these questions? Any word that you did not understand?
Uh,
Something that was not clear? And if not, think of, from these questions, which one do you think was interesting? Which one do you think you would like to use on an interview?
Number 4.
Number 4.
Yes.
I think the same for me, the number 4.
Mhm. Very good.
I think number 10 is very interesting and tricky at the same time.
Mm. Yeah, why do you think it's tricky?
Well, from my experience, it seems that most interviewers, they don't like to be too direct on giving you the answer or something. So if they might have something that they didn't like about your interview or your answers, most of them tend to not be direct about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very complicated. I once got a direct answer. I asked something close to this,
Yeah.
but I got a direct answer that was not really what I was expecting. So that's
Yeah.
why I see it as tricky.
Yeah, you have to prepare yourself. What if they say something that you don't like to hear, or
Yeah.
maybe they are not very clear? But if you are in a position where, let's say, you're thinking, I did 2 interviews today or this week, and I don't know which company to choose. Then you can ask this question and see which one sounds better, right? Because then maybe you have the option to choose between the two, right? Maybe you are a good fit for both. So, yeah. Oh, we have one more person joining us. Hold on one moment. Okay. So number 10, number 4, any other ones that you saw that looked interesting?
I think it's 9.
Number 9. And why number 9?
Yeah. I think uh, every time the company asks us how is use or experiencing uh, to combine with the company. Yeah,
Mhm.
because I think it's a huge. So the experience the employees is very important.
If you could repeat that last part, your audio is a little bit low.
Okay, I think it's a very important for the company how uh, what is your skills and experience.
Mhm.
Yeah, to combine with the company.
To see how your experience matches, right, with the company.
Yeah, Nesta. Yeah.
Good, good, good. Hello, Castillo. Welcome.
Hello, guys.
So, Castillo, we were just talking about questions that you can ask the interviewer. In a sense, we jumped to the end, right? Because some of these questions maybe you can ask at the end of the interview. And your interviewer might ask you, oh, do you have any questions for me? So it's good to have one of these or maybe two of these prepared. So it's good to have these written down somewhere. You can practice it, right? Make sure you're ready to ask this question. And it could be something that they're not expecting, and it could be something that will help you to stand out from the crowd, right? Stand out from the other candidates. Okay, so now we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to some of the questions that you might be asked, and I'm going to ask you all to prepare some answers to see how would you answer these questions. So the first one, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? This one is very common, very typical, a very typical question. But instead of having you all introduce yourself, because I already know a bit about you, why do you think it's important that we know how to answer this question in the right way? Do they want us to tell them about where we grew up, what our dog's name was? Federico?
I think it's very important for you to know the company and the position you're applying for, because this question is an opportunity you have to show that you are a good fit for that role.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, let's say they want to, they are hiring someone for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So for the marketing role, marketing analyst, let's say.
Yeah.
So it's good that you showcase experiences and characteristics and skills you have that fit for that role. For instance, if someone said, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? And I was interviewed for this position, I would say, hey, I grew up loving presentations in the school. I would spend some time to make the presentations look the best possible, and I like to speak in public and keep showing things that align with the skills or the personality type that people would look like for a marketing analysis.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Something that would show that you enjoy this area, right?
Yeah.
And here we have a nice key word here is the word pitch. Give a pitch. Is everyone familiar with the expression sales pitch? Is this expression used in Portuguese? Is it like a direct English expression, or is there a translation?
They don't use sales pitch, but the word pitch is really used here, especially in some contexts. Let's say people in the startup context, hackathons, and those kind of competitions, like incubators and all this stuff for companies, they use it very much.
Okay, good. Another popular expression in the US is elevator pitch. An elevator pitch, imagine the person you need to speak to, the decision maker, you have maybe 1 minute on the elevator to talk to them before they leave the elevator. So what will you say? Well, this requires that you prepare very well your thoughts, you practice very well your presentation. So number one, even though it's a very common question, it becomes very important because it becomes part of your first impression. What is the first impression you give the company, right? So be very careful and be well prepared to provide this answer. This one we will skip. How did you hear the position? Sometimes this might be asked, sometimes not, especially if it's a position in your company already. Let's go to, let me see. Let's go to number 6. Castillo, can you read for us number 6?
Okay. When answering this question, interview coach Pamela Skillings recommends being accurate, share your true strengths, not those you think the interviewer wants to hear. Relevant. Choose your strengths that are most targeted to this particular position and be specific. For example, instead of people skills, choose persuasive communication or relationship building. Then follow up with an example of how you've demonstrated these traits in a professional setting.
Very good. So, very important, be specific, right? Be specific. Think about a situation in one of your previous jobs, right? What experience did you have that shows or highlights your skill, right? What is the word highlight? What is this in Portuguese? Highlight?
Destaque.
Yeah,
Principais, né?
very good. Yeah, so you want to highlight your strengths, highlight your skills, but with a specific, and if you have a specific experience, then this could be good as well, right? You could say, oh, I'm one of my skills is I'm a persuasive communicator. I remember one time I had to convince a client to buy our product, but he wasn't, he wasn't willing. So I spoke to both him and his boss at the same time, and I had to convince them both. So just think of a situation, try to be very specific, and that experience can prove one of your skills. And since it happened to you, you're going to know how to describe it. You're going to know how to recount what happened. So it's an important question to know how to answer. Here's another very common and important question. What are your weaknesses? So Anna, can you read for us this one?
Yes. What do you consider to be your weakness? The text too?
Yeah.
What your interview is really trying to do with these questions, beyond identifying any major red flags, is to gauge your self-awareness
This one here is
and
gauge your self-awareness.
gauge.
Mhm.
Okay. Gauge your self-awareness and the honest, so I can meet the deadline to save my life. It's not an option, but neither is nothing. I'm perfect. Strike a balance, but think of something that you're struggling with, but that you're working to improve. For example, maybe you've never been strong at public speaking, but you've recently volunteered to run meetings to help you be more comfortable when addressing a crowd.
Yeah, when addressing a crowd. Excellent. This word gauge, I'm going to show you a pressure gauge. Can you all see my screen?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah, so to gauge your self-awareness and your honesty. So the interviewer, they're trying to determine, is this guy honest? Is he aware of his mistakes or his flaws? Right? So you want to be realistic, but of course you don't want to make yourself look terrible. You don't want to say something like, "Oh, I hate waking up in the morning. I'm always late." Right? So you want to be careful with how you answer this as well. What we're going to do is we're going to later, not maybe in about 10 minutes or so, I'm going to ask you to prepare these two questions, right? What are your greatest strengths and what are some of your weaknesses, right? So start to think about what you might say, and then we're going to share them together. right? We're going to share these answers together. So strengths and weaknesses. This one, well, let's go to, let me see. Actually, I have to open in another document. There's a short video that I would like to show you in connection with this question here, number 9. Tell me about a conflict you dealt with. But it's in the business course, so I need to open up the business. Okay, so let's take a look here. Okay, so this one is going to be rather similar to what we would have read in number 9. I'm sure everyone knows who this man is. So whether you love him or hate him, he provides a very interesting insight because he, over the years, has had to hire many engineers, many people in different roles. So let's see what are some questions that he likes to ask and why.
How do you choose your team based on what? Well, I suppose honestly that it tends to be gut feel more than anything else. So when I interview somebody, my interview question is always the same. It's just, I said, tell me the story of your life and the decisions that you made along the way and why you made them. And then and also tell me about some of the most difficult problems you worked on and how you solved them. And that question I think is very important because the people that really solve the problem, they know exactly how they solved it. They know the little details. And the people that pretended to solve the problem, they can maybe go one level and then they get stuck.
Okay. Hold on one moment. There's someone else joining us, but I don't recognize the name. Oh, Giuliano, is Ana Souza, is that person with you? Oh, no, Federico. Okay. So I believe she's joining us now. Okay, hello, Anna.
Hello.
So we have 2 Annas now. We have Ana Nascimento and Ana Souza.
Isso.
Welcome, Anna. So we have.
Não sei porque. Tudo.
Tá nos ouvindo bem?
Estou sim.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. So, what would you like to share about the video? What was the main idea that Elon Musk mentioned?
Tá falando comigo, Kevin?
Então, nesse caso, a gente acabou de assistir um clipe, né? E aí a gente vai comentar no ponto principal.
Eu não sei por que que eu não estou aparecendo aí, viu? Tá só uma bolinha aí. Não sei por quê.
Você está no celular ou você está no notebook?
Estou no celular.
Ah, pode ser isso, que às vezes no celular não dá para ver tudo.
Deixa eu virar ele para o lado.
Yeah. So I think Giuliano or Vinicius, you wanted to.
Agora os outros, eu estou vendo. Oi, Fred. Só eu não apareço porque eu não sei.
Okay, maybe, well, I can send a little message for you to turn on your camera or your video, but there you are.
Good.
So Vinicius, what would you like to say about the video that we saw?
Yeah. Yeah, so I would say that Elon Musk worries about the story life of the employee. Yeah.
Yeah, the life
So,
story.
so I think is the decision him. So he take a decision with based the story life
The life
of
story.
the
Life story.
life.
Yeah. And what was the second point that he mentioned, Giuliano?
I remember that he spoke about solve problems. Yeah. But I think the company wants to find someone who solve problems on the company. And I think it's the idea that he thinks about.
Yeah. So have you ever worked on a project in at work or in school, and there was someone who didn't do the work?
Yeah.
Right? So this person, they won't be able to describe the solution very well because they were not a part of the solution. They were not a part of solving the problem. So if we solve the problem, then we can describe it in detail, right? So be specific, a specific experience that of a problem that you helped to solve. Then you can explain, why it was challenging, how you helped to solve it. Okay. So this is another question that I would like you to prepare this evening. So I'd like you to prepare your strengths, your weaknesses, and a specific experience that you had at work of a problem that you helped solve. Okay. This one we will skip. This one, we're going to watch this video, but it's also in connection with another point. So let's watch this video and then we'll take a look at some other examples.
Arguably the most crucial part of the job search, an interview can make or break an opportunity. So to help you really prepare, we're going to dissect and analyze an entire interview from start to finish. I'll be sprinkling in a mix of tips about body language, etiquette, and how to answer common questions. Like, when exactly does the interview start? How do you deal with nerves? And how soon can you follow up? For years, athletes have used science and data analysis to improve. Now, we are doing the same for job seekers everywhere. This is Job Science. Meet Anya, a recent grad majoring in business administration. She's interviewing for an entry-level project management position. Note her posture. Head up, shoulders pulled back, no slouching, and no laid backness. The interview begins the minute you walk into the building. Anya treats everyone in the office with respect while keeping eye contact. From security personnel to receptionists, anyone you run into on your way in could be asked to give feedback on you. It's normal to be nervous. When nerves kick in, the natural human response is to take short breaths and breathe faster. Stay calm by taking a deep breath before entering. Hold it, count to 3, and then slowly breathe out. Pause. First, ace those introductions. Greet everyone in a way that is authentic to you, like, "Hey, nice to meet you," and then say their name. That one always works. You're more likely to remember their name if you say it out loud when you first meet. A lot of the time, small talk comes up before any questions. It's good to have a few current events or topics in mind. You can't possibly predict what they're going to ask, but you can practice answering the common ones, like, why do you want to work here? What makes you unique? Let's see what our interviewer asks.
So I want to hear more. Tell me a little about your experience and what you'd bring to this role.
Pause. When this is asked, they're looking to learn what makes you stand out. Be honest with your answers. That means having to pause and think for a second. That is all right. Think about your past experiences and how the role lines up with your future goals. It never hurts to be honest.
Great question. Ever since I was young, I've always been the organized one in my family. Whether it was helping my parents schedule vacations or color coordinating my closet, Naturally, that lifestyle got me here, project management. I've been a people person for as long as I can remember. Plain and simple, I love team building and making sure everyone has a part. Just the other month.
Ooh, just really quick, don't speak negatively about previous places you've worked. Instead, talk about what you've learned.
I helped lead a team of 5 to deliver a 3-week sales project a few days ahead of schedule. I'd love to bring these things here.
Perfect. A response like this not only answers the question, but also shows off her personality. But remember, there's no one right way to interview and answer questions. Be yourself and let your personality shine. Be aware of your movements. Practice polite, confident body language. Subtly miming your interviewer's posture can actually create a sense of connection. Of all places, unnecessary movements are hard to ignore in an interview. Whether it's tapping your fingers or bouncing your leg, be aware and stay present.
Hey, it's been great chatting so far. I guess my last question is, do you have any questions for me?
Ooh, this is a hot one. Make sure to have a short list of questions for your employer in your back pocket. Ask the questions you would if you got the job. If tomorrow was your first day, what would you want to know from the manager? Even if you don't have any burning questions, asking a few shows that you did your homework and that you really care. Some include, what do you like best about working here? What are some mistakes people have made in this position? What is a goal you're currently working toward? How will my performance be evaluated?
Well, I did read that you're expanding your software team next quarter. I'm curious how you plan to carry that out.
The interview isn't actually over. Always follow up within 24 hours with a thank you email to the hiring manager. This can be a quick note simply thanking them for their time, or a longer one that elaborates on some of the things you talked about. It's key to leaving a lasting impression. This was the breakdown of an interview. Till next time.
Okay. So, is there any points here that anyone would like to comment on? Anything that in particular that you found interesting? Federico?
Yeah.
Okay. One point that I found very interesting and I always found it very amazing is how you should write a follow-up to the interview. And sometimes you have to do it through email. It can be kind of complicated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fortunately, today we have ChatGPT that can help us, right?
It tends to become less personal, though.
No, yeah. So what we do is there's I don't want to say a rule, but there's a basic premise that it is always easier to improve something than to start from zero.
That's true.
So you take what, let's say, ChatGPT gives you, and then you say, okay, now I'm going to improve it. Now I'm going to put it in my voice. I'm going to simplify it. I'm going to personalize it. And this way it gives you something to work with. Then if you're sitting there like, okay, what do I say? How do I start? What do I read? What do I ask? Or, what points do I mention? So it's something that you can use as a tool, like anything else, and try to personalize it so it still sounds human, right? Still sounds like you. Yeah. Any other points? I think Vinicius, you were going to mention something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. The video when he say about the pose your phrase and you give answer to interviewer. So I think it's like a more calm, and I think the person is can I explain? Yeah, I think that the person don't express in the intro. Yeah. So when you say in the make a pause during the phrase, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's important.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the body language and the gestures. They mentioned here, let's see, where is that? Well, let's go back to this one here. Our posture is very important, but I would like to show you an example of power poses. Has anyone seen these poses before, these positions? These are, yeah. What I would like you to do is, vocês não vão fazer isso lá na empresa, right? But before, maybe 1 hour before, maybe half an hour before, maybe in the car, right? I want you to choose some of these positions because these positions will prepare your mind to be more confident. And it works. There's a connection between our body, how we use our body, and how we feel, and what we're preparing our mind mentally to do. So maybe 1 hour before, 30 minutes before, try to use one of these positions. This one here in the middle, this is called the Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman position. Mulher Maravilha, right? Because she would use this pose in the show, at least in the old show, I think in the 70s or the 80s. Isso tem já umas 4 décadas. But in the old show, this would be a popular pose that she would have. So it's a power pose. Another point, no, let's go back to the other one. Here, when
about previous places you've worked. Instead,
just the other month.
Ooh, just really.
Tell me a little about your experience and what you'd bring to this role.
Pause. When this is asked, be honest with your answers. Having to pause and think about your past experiences, role lines, goal. It hurts to be honest.
Great question. Ever since I was...
Do you hear what she did? She said, great question. Use this expression. Great question. Why? It gives you time to think. And it's better than going, right? These words, these sounds, in English, I don't know what they're called in Portuguese. They're called word whiskers. Word whiskers. Whiskers we have on a cat, right? So a cat has whiskers. These are called word whiskers. Sometimes they could be a noise. Sometimes they could be a word. So like, but we don't want it to become a distraction. Things that come out of the idea of the word whisker, it comes out of our mouth, but it's more of a distraction. So you don't want it to be something repetitive, or you don't want it to be a noise. So you could say something like, oh, that's a good question. Or I never thought of this before. Or let me see. Right? Something like this that gives you some time to react and to think about what you're going to say. Any questions?
No.
Okay. So let's move ahead to, let's see, we don't have too much time. This one is a good one. Describe a time that you disagreed with a decision. This will show how you deal with conflict. So think about an experience when you had to deal with conflict at work. Who did you talk to? Did you resolve the problem, or did you wait for the situation to improve? Right? So this could be a tricky question, but it can identify your conflict resolution skills. And you don't want to call your old boss a jerk in the interview. So be careful with how you answer this one. we're going to watch one more video, and then I'm going to allow you time to prepare your answers for some of those questions. Okay, is it this one or this one? Let's do this one.
So you got the interview, but now what? How do you impress enough to actually get the job? The mistake a lot of people make during interviews is they focus so much on themselves. But in an interview, it's not really about you, it's about what the company you're interviewing for wants in you. If you really want to nail an interview, don't make it about you and instead make it about what the company is looking for. You can stand out from other applicants by saying, I have a lot of examples from my previous experience, but what would be most important for you to hear about? This way I can tailor what I share with you so it's relevant for our conversation today. Remember to ask the interviewer questions and then allow the conversation to evolve based on what they say. This will make it seem more organic. Finally, you want to make sure you view it as an opportunity to interview them about whether it's a place that you want to work at. Ask them about their culture, their challenges, and anything else important to you. You're scoping them out just as much as they're scoping you out. I hope this helps.
Okay, so very quick little video. Maybe it's best to listen again on 0.75 because he does speak a bit fast, with some subtitles as well. So I can send you all this video. But the idea, the fundamental idea or point is don't only focus on yourself, but focus on the company. How are you there to serve or to help them? Right? So think in this way, and this is going to help to guide your answers. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes. What I would like you to do is I'm going to give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes to prepare your answers. See how you can describe your strengths, your weaknesses, problems that you have helped solve, or a conflict that you resolved. Now, you might not have time to prepare all your answers, but see if you can choose 1 or 2 that you can share with us today. Okay?
We can repeat the second question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Repeat, please, teacher.
Yes. So we have strengths. I'm going to type it in the chat as well. Weaknesses. A problem you solved. And a conflict you resolved. Now, sometimes the conflict that you resolve maybe did not require you to be the solution, right? So depending on the situation, maybe you had to wait a little bit. Maybe it was a decision made by your boss. Maybe it was in public and you did not want to embarrass someone. So this idea of resolving a conflict, it depends on the circumstance, right? But see if you can be specific, an experience that you had in the past. See if you could prepare an answer for some of these 4 points, and then we can share them together. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. So who can share? Who's ready to share one of your answers about one of these 4 points? Federico?
So one interesting is the problem helped solve. When I was working as an auditor, the audits were very reliant on Excel spreadsheets. So that was something that usually to take a lot of time to complete, and the standardization was very bad because each one had a way to fill the fields. So I proposed and helped build a software for the company to help standardize more and make things more fluid. So we had a meeting, a discussion, and everybody gave their opinions. And with this software, we helped to reduce about 10% the time of audits. And what's the greatest contribution the software had for the company was we allowed it to the onboarding process to go from a week, because people are just trying to figure out where each field was on the audit, a spreadsheet, to 2 days only.
Wow.
So it was a very good implementation there. So that's how we helped create everything together. I think the most important part was we had a meeting for every auditor, especially the most experienced ones, to say what they liked, what they didn't like on the spreadsheet. So that was a good basis for improving.
Awesome. Very nice experience. It shows 10% is a lot, and 3 days is tremendous. So to save 10% and to save that 3 days is tremendous. But it also shows that you were listening to the auditors, the experienced auditors, and you were implementing their suggestions. So it's an excellent example of how you can you listen and also find a solution that helps the company to save time and save money. Very nice, very nice. Thank you, Federico. Anyone else?
Yeah, I can say. So I know my strong point and my weakness.
Yeah.
So my strong point is I have a perfil very communicator and how can I say executor? Yes, executor, and is my strong point. I have easily to communicate, and every time I do execute actions, yeah, communicative properly, yeah.
Communicative.
Yeah,
Good.
and my weakness, every time I help other guys, and I forget to make it my work. Yeah, I don't know saying in English, but in Portuguese is a sabotador prestativo. So every time I was a prestativo and I forget to make it my work. Yeah,
Okay.
so I every helping other and I forget me.
Yeah. Okay.
The bad.
Okay, good. Okay, that's a nice way that you answered this. So, Vinicius, I'll mention just 2 points that maybe you can include in your answer. One point as a communicator, being communicative, as you said, right? Try to think of an example, a specific example that you were that shows that you are a good communicator. So think about your experience and see if you could think of a specific example. With the second point, you can mention your weakness, but you can also mention what you're doing to improve. So the fact that you enjoy helping people, but this can affect your own work, right? Sometimes you forget about the tasks, your own tasks, but you could say something at the end like, so now I see the importance of delegating, right? So delegating, maybe sometimes you don't have to help everybody. Maybe you can delegate or assign roles, and this could even show your interviewer that you have the potential to be like a manager, right? If you're delegating tasks to others. Or you could say, this shows me the importance of time management, which is what I'm working on. So you could show it as something as a positive. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, very good. So unfortunately, we don't have time to hear from everybody. But there's just 2 things I would like to mention in connection with this evening. One is we have a partnership here in the school. It's completely new, so I can't really be too specific. But we have a partnership with a career coach, and we're going to help individuals that are looking for work both freelance or working outside the country, to prepare them for those type of positions. This will include this my second point. My second point is it will include interview sessions. So interview sessions with me where we will do a mock interview, right? A mock interview. O que seria mock interview in Portuguese?
Simulação de entrevista.
Simulação.
Entrevista simulada.
Yeah, uma entrevista simulada. So if we had more time, of course, this would be something that I would do with you. But as part of this partnership, where we would be offering these sessions, right, to do simulated interviews, mock interviews, to help work with you on your answers, how to communicate yourself, just like we did this evening, but of course more extensively because there would be multiple sessions and not just one. So it's something that I'm excited for. We're looking forward to working with her, and as we develop it a little bit more, I'll be sure to provide more details. I just don't want to get ahead of myself and describe something maybe in the wrong way. So I just wanted to let you all know that. Okay.